What's going on, everybody? I'm going to teach you guys just a little something today. There's been a lot of talk out there about how, well, Superman is not going to do well due to inflation based off of what Man of Steel did, and based off of inflation, Batman vs. Superman made $1 billion and blah, 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 this and that. And while I get that, I understand that when you take a movie from 2013, 2016, and you see inflation over the last 10, 15 years, and sure, what it made in 2013 based off inflation, it could have made more money today. But you don't take all the factors, at hand in that. Like you're just looking at, well, the dollar has gone up in this, or this has happened here, so obviously this much money equals this much money here. So I kind of wanted to talk to all of you and say, look, when it comes to box office revenue and how things happen, it's not as simple as just saying, well, it makes revenue and it does this, it does XYZ. And obviously, because XYZ is happening today, XYZ would happen for this movie today. Basically. So let's get into it here. So I did a little article over at slavsfreetalk.com. It's called Unraveling the Complex Dynamics of Modern Comic Book Movie Box Office Revenue. It's a really, really interesting article. I'm not going to go in depth with the article. If you guys want to go read it, it is very, very in depth. But I'm going to go over it a little bit here with you guys, because I think that there's so many people out there who want to say gotcha when it comes to, say, Superman in comparison to Man of Steel, that they're missing a lot of factors. And, well, they need to sit back and realize, like, first off, things were different in 2013 compared to 2025. Yes, the dollar is up, or the, inflation is up. So obviously what Man of Steel made back then could be higher. Could be. Mind you, I'm saying could be for a reason. However, there are other factors. Prices of tickets are higher today than they were in 2013. But that could play into other roles. Let's also not forget that there are things like bundling. There are things like movie programs, passes, like AMC Movie Pass and Cinemark's Movie Pass and things like that weren't around in 2013 that would hurt Man of Steel. So let's take a look here at some of the things that are going on. So I'm going to read this first little bit here. It says, in today's rapidly evolving film industry, comparing box office revenue from the past to those of today involves far more complexity than a mere inflation adjustment. While some fan bases use these comparisons to argue for the continuation of their favorite franchises or to dismiss others, they overlook key factors shaping revenue today. Premium theater formats, dynamic pricing models, and theater memberships have fundamentally transformed how movies earn money. These innovations not only mirror shifts in consumer behavior and technological advances, but also redefine traditional ticket sales. As the landscape of moviegoing continues to change, understanding these nuances is essential for truly appreciating what modern box office numbers represent. So I kind of dive in a bit here about the different types of things that would necessitate understanding what affects the box office for a movie. Now, general inflation measurements capture average price changes across a wide range of goods and services. However, movie ticket prices often change in ways that stray from the average trends. Depending on the market conditions, studios and theater chains may adjust ticket prices at rates that are either above or below typical inflation rate, influenced by factors such as market competition. So that would be the need to remain competitive in a crowded market, which can lead to either aggressive pricing strategies or premium pricing for unique offerings. For instance, my closest theater, I actually have two, which they're both about 30-40 minutes away from me. But there's two theaters within 10 minutes of each other. They play off of each other. There's competitive pricing there. Obviously, one is priced a little higher than the other. but one has better seating than the other. One has better prices on concessions than the other. One has different times and different movies than the other. So they play off of each other there. Thus, the pricing for the movies are slightly different and skewed a little bit. When you simply sit there and adjust for inflation, it's not taking into consideration all of those factors across the country. All right? Because those types of things can change over time. You also have the demand for fluctuations. Seasonal and situational demand can push prices up, especially during blockbuster releases or holidays. Yes, during blockbuster season, so during the summer, you can see a slight rise in ticket prices. Same with during holidays. Like Christmas time has become a really, really big time for movies. Prices sometimes go up $1 or $2. Look, you don't take into consideration that. Now, some of what I'm saying could be in the benefit for those movies that came out years ago as compared to what movies are coming out today. But still, that is something that people don't take into consideration. Now, with today's theaters, you also have more premium formats. Premium formats such as IMAX, 3D, Dolby Cinema. These formats obviously have higher ticket prices. Again, like I said, some of the things I'm going to say is going to make it sound like, well, that's going to benefit today's movies more than, 15-year-old movies. And you're right, it could. But let's not forget that when you think of things, all right, you have to look at the whole scope of everything. So while some things may benefit movies from 10, 15 years ago, and some benefit today, you have to look at the whole scope of things. And when you put it all together, there's some that would affect things more than things like this. You also have the dynamic pricing, which allows theaters to adjust prices based on variables, such as the time of day, time of week, real-time demand. That kind of strategy will add another layer of complexity. I used to have a theater that was just 10 minutes from me before it closed down during the pandemic. That theater would have on Tuesdays $5 Tuesdays, where every Tuesday you could go watch any movie that was in the theater for $5. The same theater chain that's 40 minutes from me does not have that. Same theater chain, but has never had that $5 Tuesday. Same theater chain, same brand, just didn't have it. Again, because of where it was placed. You see? So that actually helps the movie from 15 years ago, but not the movie of today. You take a look at things like that, and it's kind of like, okay, now we're seeing some things that, that would skew the numbers a bit. Discounted prices, membership programs often are discounted prices, which can lower the average revenue per ticket. That is a big factor today. Specifically during the summer months, I typically will get the AMC A-List pass, so I can go see multiple movies throughout the year or throughout the summer and not have to worry about paying a crap ton of money. You get perks, you get upgrades on your concessions, and you can eventually get free movie tickets for your guests to go because you rack up points and all that jazz. I do that. But think about it. You're getting free movie tickets through that, so that's free tickets there. You're not paying money for those tickets. And number two, you're paying, what am I paying? I'm paying $25 for that pass. I could see 3 movies in a week for that. All right, so 3 movies, which it could be IMAX. It could be the premium formats right there. So premium formats, which are typically like $12, $13, $14, and I'm essentially seeing 3 of those. That turns out to being what, $6 a ticket, or $7 a ticket. So that drops the price right there. Again, that type of stuff plays a role. Increased attendance. The more attendance you have in those memberships, the cheaper the tickets look. The bundled services. I have not seen bundled services for a while. I do remember when I lived near a Cinemark, they used to have a bundle where you could get 2 tickets and a popcorn or popcorn and 2 drinks for X amount of money. So that kind of plays a role. I don't know if they still do that. That was years ago whenever I lived near a Cinemark. But again, that type of stuff does play a role. And then the revenue predictability. Memberships often provide theaters with a more predictable revenue stream, which might influence how pricing strategies work. Again, if they see more memberships coming through their door, so if the AMC that I live near sees that they see a crap ton of AMC memberships coming through the door, they may bump the prices up of their tickets. That way, the people who don't have the memberships are kind of compensating for those memberships. You see? So the pricing structure and things like that kind of do affect how things work. You then have the regional and demographic variations because ticket prices can vary. I know places in like California, you're looking at ticket prices upwards of $15 to $20. Where I'm at on the East Coast in Pennsylvania, I can get tickets normally without a membership for like a matinee price is like $8. So the ticket prices vary where you're at. Then you have the audience behavior. And this is the big one. This is the one that truly, truly affects everything. And I've talked about this multiple times over the last couple months. The market evolution and the audience behavior. Because beyond the specifics of the ticket pricing, the film industry itself undergoes significant changes over years. It's specifically over the past decade, the comic book movie industry and the genre as a whole has gone over a drastic change. Now, the way they distribute movies across the theatrical, chains changes all the time. Sometimes a movie will have a limited release where it'll only go to, say, 50 theaters. Sometimes movies will go to 1,400 theaters. Sometimes movies will go to 1,200 theaters. Sometimes movies will go to, 800 theaters. That plays a role in it as well when you distribute a movie to theaters. And that's kind of based on the evolution of the market. How is the market looking? Where is the movies? How many theaters? Where is this movie going to be successful at? So that plays a role as well. But then you have the audience behavior. And I've shown this chart a couple times now on different videos, and I'm going to show it again. This here is a chart, and it shows the trend of audience behavior in regards to the average gross box office revenue for superhero movies worldwide from 2000 to 2024. Now, as you can see, the last few years has been, a little rocky to say the least. There's been a massive drop. Now, there was a bit of a boost you could start to see in 2024 because in 2023 there was a massive drop. It was under $400 million for the box office when it came to superhero films. But if you go all the way back, we're going to go back to 2013, for instance. So all the way back to 2013, right here, 2013. Maybe 2013, that's 2012. So 2012, 2013, this is where we're looking at. 2012, 2013, you're looking at 1.1 billion to 600 million. So from 2012 to 2019, that's what we're looking at there. 2012 to 2019, nothing was ever under $600 million. Ever, when it came to the comic book movie genre. Marvel was killing it. That was the superhero comic book movie genre boom. I say this all the time. There was a big boom when it came to comic book movies. There was a huge boom. It was ginormous. People were going to the movies. They wanted to see comic book movies. That's what they were watching. And in large part, it was thanks to Marvel. No doubt, Marvel was leading the charge. DC tried. DC jumped in there. They wanted to get their hands on that money. Sure, some of that revenue is part of that. But they really, 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 really tried, and it just didn't work out for DC. They just couldn't get out the quality of content there. But if you take a look during that time frame, that 7 years, 6 years, whatever it is, that is a massive amount of money. Okay? Now, there was a drop in 2020. We all know why. But after that, there was a jump. It looked like, hey, it looks like we're back on track. 630, we're right back on track. Jumped up a little bit more than that in 2022, right back up, still over the 600, but boom. 2023, it dropped down to under 400 million. 400 million. DC, it was pretty much ending their universe. Marvel was struggling. No Marvel movie was really successful. People were getting sick of it. 2024, 450. Now, 2024 also saw the release of a $1 billion comic book movie, which was one Marvel movie. There was one MCU movie in 2024. The other movies were Sony films, and that could absolutely hurt the box office numbers there. No doubt. No doubt at all. If there were, say, 3 or 4 MCU films in 2024, perhaps that number would have been higher. But there is no denying that in 2023 there was a massive drop. 2024 there was a massive drop. So we're seeing that there is a little bit of concern because you start to see this trend and you take a look back at the box office, say the Marvels, you say, even look at the current Captain America that came out. They're all making less money than what the average was during the superhero boom, the comic book movie boom in those 7 years. So that's the type of stuff you want to look at when you're looking at comparisons of a 15-year-old movie from, say, 2012, 2013 to a movie that's going to be coming out in 2025. You don't just simply look at the inflation. You look at the trends. You look at all of the intricacies of the ticket prices, what kind of memberships and bundles, and what's the market like. That's the type of stuff you look at. Because, yes, you can sit there and say, well, adjusted for inflation, Man of Steel would make this. Well, no crap if you just simply adjust it for inflation. But if you release that same movie today, you have to put all those factors against it. Would it make that money today? If you take Batman vs. Superman and release it today, you have to put all those factors against it. If you release The Dark Knight today, people don't think of things like that. They just simply say, we look and adjust it for inflation. This is how much it makes. And that's why when I see people say, if we adjust it for inflation, this is what happens. I'm just like, guys, come on. Think a little bit more than that. Think just a little bit more than that. Because there's more to it than just adjusting for inflation. Just a little bit more to it. Let me know your thoughts about all this. Again, head over to SlavsFreeTalk.com. Read this whole article yourself. It's really interesting. Like I said, I broke it down, tried to make it as easy and simple for everybody to understand and read. Again, it's interesting. It is interesting to see how the market works, how theaters, and understand how pricing works a little bit. Let me know your thoughts. I want to hear what you have to say in the comments below. Hit that like button, hit subscribe. With all that said, I'll check you all out later.